All right, let's look at game two, a nice regional matchup here. 4-0 Liberty on the road at Appalachian State. The Mountaineers are 2-2. This is a 3:30 kick on ESPN Plus on Saturday. Liberty opens up as a 3-point road favorite at Kid Brewer Stadium. That'll also be the side of our Old North State tailgate and traveling sports circus this week.
Yeah, our good friend Mike Waddell wears many hats for our company. Weatherman is going to be an additional hat that he wears this week because apparently there's a hurricane coming up the west coast of Florida that could disrupt parts of the college football weekend, maybe even including the western part of the great state of North Carolina. So stay tuned to our website, ncsportsnetwork.com, just in case there are any changes along those lines. Regardless, to me, this is a fascinating battle between one of the most consistently successful college football programs of the last decade, meaning App State, and one of the most consistently successful and fast-rising coaches in college football in 47-year-old Jamie Chadwell, who is now in his second season at Liberty after having great success at both Charleston Southern at the FCS level and then Coastal Carolina at the FBS level. Anyone who may remember the story of the currently injured NC State quarterback Grayson McCall, who was a three-time Sun Belt Player of the Year for the Chanticleers, Jamie Chadwell was McCall's coach and quarterbacks guru with the Chanticleers. So there's one more connection for you here locally. Last season, in Coach Chadwell's debut at Liberty, it's easy to forget because we're North Carolina-centric and ACC-centric here in this part of the country. The Flames went 13-1 last year. They won the Conference USA title, and they played in the Fiesta Bowl. Chadwell was the conference's coach of the year. A Tennessee transfer, a guy named Caden Salter, was the league's most valuable player. And a Wake Forest transfer, running back Quentin Cooley, was the CUSA newcomer of the year. Now, all of those guys are back. The coach, those players, they're back with the Flames, and they've been key parts of their 4-0 start, including that 35-24 victory for Liberty over East Carolina just last week up in Lynchburg. Now, App State was embarrassed at home last Thursday night on national television, falling 48-14 to South Alabama at Kid Brewer Stadium. Earlier this year, remember, the Mountaineers also got waxed 66-20 by Clemson at Death Valley, although that could happen to a lot of teams, as NC State found out the hard way just last week. As I mentioned, App State is one of the winningest programs in the entire FBS ranks over the past decade. The only programs with more victories during that period are, wait for this, in order, Alabama, Clemson, Georgia, Ohio State, Oklahoma, and Notre Dame. That is some really impressive company for the Mountaineers, obviously, and they're usually especially difficult to beat at The Rock, which is a great place to watch a college football game. It's why we go there every year, and where the Mountaineers have actually led the entire nation in some years in terms of attendance compared to capacity. They were way over 100% in that category last year. I don't know if that's news for the local fire marshals, but it's good news for App State football's attendance. This year's Mountaineers, though, so far have looked more like the Sean Clark team that went only 6-6 2 years ago. That was, remember, the only the second Mountaineers non-winning season of the past 30 years. And this year's team, for now, looks less like his 21 and 2023 teams, which won a combined 19 games and made it to the Sun Belt Conference championship game in both of those years. The number one area of concern that I have as the Mountaineers try to match up against Liberty is the Mountaineers defense. It's given up a Sun Belt worst 36 points per game and almost 6 yards per rushing attempt, and it just couldn't get either the Clemson offense or, more alarmingly, the South Alabama offense off the field. That will have to change if the Mountaineers are going to spring an upset on Saturday afternoon. Quick PS, we are scheduled to be there, as you mentioned. We're typically just outside Kid Brewer Stadium in the hours leading up to what in this year's case is a 3:30 kickoff. But we'll also be watching the aftermath of Hurricane Helene to see just how that may impact the western part of North Carolina on Saturday, and maybe even a broader chunk of this extended college football weekend. Again, folks can check our website for updates a little bit closer to game time.